Madame l'ambassadrice, cher Grégoire, Dream Team de Airbus, chers amis, bine ați venit la Institutul francez din Romania, in Bucharest. Bienvenue. I will speak in English tonight to you, just to give you a very warm welcome here in the Sala Elvir Popescu in the French Institute in Bucharest. I'm Julien Caponelli-Chesi, the director of the French Institute. For those who don't know me and for those who don't know maybe the French Institute, we are this space where communities are mixed. We are cooperating in education, in culture, also of course with French tech, with universities and with a lot of people from the civil society also, and we are supporting the institutional exchanges between France and Romania. You are here, warm welcome to be here as spectators, to be here also as partners. We have a club of sponsors, and you are also very welcome to join it, of course. We are very happy to cooperate with startups and new young people that are eager to making new projects. One project I want to draw your attention on, because we had this a few days ago, to give you an example, and because you can see it now, it's called the exhibition Sésame. We did this very, very nice cooperation with an association in Satu Mare, close to Satu Mare, and there were a lot of children in a very poor neighborhood that worked with a French photograph for workshops. They did come here a few days ago. For the first time, they leave their hometown, and for the first time, they came to Bucharest. And they present to us, to Madame Ambassador, and to other persons in the assistance, the work, the photograph that they've done, and that you can see there and in the atrium for the cocktail afterwards. And for them, it was the first time they can present something. They were so proud. We were very proud of them. And I think what we did changed their life. I know, Grégoire, that you do also a lot of action that are like this, and we are very thankful for that. And just to tell you, that is one of the things we're doing. You can see it, and you can also buy some photograph, by the way. Thank you very much to be here, inspiring women in business. It's a long due event, and we're very happy to have it with Airbus here. This thematic is also one of the main thematic we are having here in the French Institute all the year long. And again, a warm welcome. And I give the floor to Madame l'Ambassadrice Laurence AUER. Thank you very much.
Moi aussi, je vais parler en anglais. Eu la fel. Vorbesc pe limba engleză. Ladies and gentlemen, cher Grégoire, cher Julien, directeur de l'Institut français, it's a great pleasure to be among you today to open this special event entitled Inspiring Women in Business. It's organized by the French Tech in Romania. It's even a greater pleasure to be with Grégoire again. This week, we consider the French tech in Romania being kind of a dream team. And this time, it's dedicated to women entrepreneurs, and I see so many of you. Let me just say a couple of words about what I do believe that what we should do, or what should be done to ensure real equality between men and women in the business. Of course, inequalities, everybody knows that, between women and men do exist throughout the world and are even somehow worsening. Some cases, some countries, statistics, it's the reason why France, like other countries, has developed since 2007 a dedicated reason and a dedicated feminist diplomacy. It's an international strategy, including development, greener diplomacy as well, including women, to ensure that the issue of equality between women and men is integrated into all areas of state intervention, but also in this internal dimension, in the bilateral relations we are. Equality between women and men are being declared la grande cause of the first mandate of President Emmanuel Macron. It remains in his second mandate a big priority at the top of his priority agenda, and as you know, they are all in New York, and they'll reaffirm that today in this Head of States week. You may say, but what why the tech, why the French tech is concerned. Why are we concerned personally? We are global thinkers, we are actors of innovation, and we do not see why we have problems between women and men in startups. Let me just stress a few figures and a few elements for opening the debate among us tonight. Of course, the issue of equal pay between men and women exists in Europe. The issue was a priority of the French presidency of the European Union, first semester 2022, and that's why a directive called Women in Entrepreneurs, Women on Boards, was approved by unanimity, including Romania, and it was somehow, we were very proud about this result. We reached an agreement on this new directive. It's a question of transparency. It's a question as well of putting 40% of women into boards of the entrepreneurship. And within the European Union today, we know that the pay gap and the equality in the decision-making processes is still very important to be taken into account. The gap is around 14% throughout the European Union. It has long-term consequences on women's quality of life, but also a pension gap arrives between men and women, but also it has effects throughout the careers of women. We know that women receive a salary that is on average 28% lower than men. It's different here in Romania. If you look at the numbers and the statistics, it's only 3.3% of differences between men and women at equal positions. But the problem here is the positions. So I look very happily that in the tech you are all going to be CEOs, and that your wages will be put by you, and that you will be doing on this pay average salary gap it will make a big difference. New companies means innovation. New companies means as well new way of thinking, governance in a company. So I expect a lot about this meeting. The great achievement is, of course, of all these pieces of legislation mean that now we have to implement it. And there are several factors today to explain what we should do for the future. And thank you so much for Airbus. Thank you to Georges Durdy and our two members of the COMEX of Airbus for being with us to explain how in a large company dedicated to innovation you can make the difference. So of course I can give you more statistics about the women going in part-time work, the women overrepresented here, including here in Romania in low-wage sectors, the underrepresentations in politics, in managerial position, in coalitias. Sorry about that, because today Coaliția pentru Dezvoltare is chaired by a woman. We are very proud about that, Adela Jansen. But also the fact that you don't share as well the household duties, and discrimination at work is a long list of elements in the careers. We started the day with a discussion with members of parliament, Secretary of States, because I think we have a lot to do among Europe and among Europeans to speak about it, not saying it's better in my country, but really to see how much together with you as newcomers in the market can help threshing all those thresholds of le plafond de verre, of glass. So what do we expect from this evening? First of all, thank you, because if you came already, you are convinced. And from our point of view, this makes a big difference. More advocacy, more action, more dedication, more vision. I mean, when you see in a panel men and you don't see women, please notice that there is a problem. We in France have started this education, and I really think that with the French Tech in Bucharest, giving a prize for women in innovation has made a lot of difference. Many of you are coming from this system and are proud of this system. To finish with, I will, of course, wish you a very good evening. Speaking about practices, potential capacities, mentorships, abolishing stereotypes, prejudices, everything is important. And I will also very much would like to learn from you, because of course, when you are ambassador, when you are in the civil service, it's different. I really believe that you will do the difference. You on equality, and you for Europe. Thanks a lot.
Why? Why the hell did she bite the apple? And why the hell did she give this apple to the man? Because of her, woman, the couple was expelled from paradise. And you know what? I often wonder why it's Eve who picks the apple in the book of Genesis and not the man, Adam. Because consciously or not, this story from the Bible has very unfortunate and everlasting consequences in society. Here we go. The forbidden fruit contributes to a cultural bias that presents women as being weaker than men. And in that case, as weak enough to not be able to resist to the temptation from the snake. So because we are at the French Institute, a bit of culture will not hurt for people like me who are business people. So this is a painting from 1915, The Garden of Eden with the Fall of Man by Peter Paul Rubens and Jan Bruegel. And another story, which is a more personal story. This is a picture of Camille. Camille is my daughter. She's 6 years old. She's my little princess. But she's not the kind of princess that is going to wait for a Prince Charming to come and save her, because she does not need to be saved. Camille does not need to be saved. Rather, she's the kind of princess who leads. And at her young age, she does things. She gets things done by herself. And I was so happy because recently Camille told me, "Look, Daddy, I would like to become an entrepreneur like you. Like Daddy." So for her and for all the little girls in the world, let's work together. And I know it's just a little piece we do tonight, but it's a piece. Let's be the world in which women have equal chances as men. Let's also build a world in which women can dance and have fun, even if they are a prime minister. This is with this bold ambition that I declare open the very first edition of Inspiring Women in Business by La French Tech. Tonight, let's challenge gender bias. Tonight, let's hear what brilliant business people have to say about female leadership. Tonight, let's bite the apple together. Thank you. Dear Airbus team, thank you so much. Mulțumesc foarte mult. Mulțumim din suflet for powering this event. Especially our friend Georges Urdilly and Anna Ruxandra Radu. Thank you very much for your support. Merci Madame l'ambassadrice, cher Laurence, cher Julien, de toujours nous recevoir avec autant de cœur et d'amitié. Merci à Loïc également de l'Institut français. Mulțumesc à tous de nous recevoir. Merci de toujours être là pour nous. Ca obicei. Mulțumesc din suflet as well to the board of La French Tech for their support organizing this event. Primarily Dylan Delaumois and Christian Lemaître. Mulțumesc din suflet Adriana Recursive, Irina Obushtarova and Volker Moser, our three moderators. Mulțumesc din suflet. Wow. Dear panelists, and now it is my pleasure to invite on stage a guest who comes from France to be with us tonight. Please applause DTO and Company Transformation, member of AHH Executive Committee at Airbus Helicopters, Mathilde Royer-Germain. Mathilde, the mic is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow. Dear all, very nice to see you so numerous tonight. First, I would like to thank the organizers for this wonderful idea to organize a place and some space where we can discuss the gender topic. I would not call it an issue, I would call it a topic. And that's my pleasure to be here with many great guests and speakers and to address a topic which is very close to my heart. So some words, I was told, explain what you experienced, tell us about your life. So I will try not to be too boring. And I'll start by introducing myself with two values which are very important to me and which are the basis for successful relationships. It is respect and trust. And this is what I try to disseminate every day at work, at home, and to me there is a strong link to diversity here. My home, by the way, is in Marseille, in the south of France, and I have two, I would not say children, I would say teenagers, and that makes a very big difference. And by the way, that would be interesting also to share with you, because you look so young, and my teenagers, when I speak about gender diversity, they look at me like, you're so old, it has been. We don't care about gender diversity, it's about bisexual, asexual, intersex, whatever. So anyway, when I started 30 years ago to work in Germany, the world was still very easy. It was male and female. So when I started, I happened to be a non-man, non-German, non-engineer. I studied economics, and not as old as the crowd there, because I finished my studies very, very fast anyway. So I could not say, because I'm often asked, did you experience discrimination because you are a woman? And actually, I came as a pack, as a quite exotic pack, with a non-engineer, non-German, and not a man. And I don't know which of these differences was the more impactful. But there was a big difference, and my experience, my own experience, is that it was a great opportunity because it made me visible. And when you're so visible, of course, it's on you to make the difference afterwards, but when you're so visible, it's an opportunity to build a strong network. And network is very important. It also is an opportunity to access to mentors. And I was so lucky to have great mentors. I have to admit that I sometimes choose my mentors. Someone I was admiring a lot, and I thought to myself, if I ask him if he would be my mentor, maybe he would say yes. I did it, and guess what? He said yes. So I would encourage you to dare to ask for help, for support, for exchanges. And it is today my great recognition in work when my mentees, because I have a lot of mentees, or my team tell me, oh, thank you, you helped me so much, or you help us so much. So then my day is a great day. So visibility, the difference brings this visibility that allows you to build your network. It's not enough. Then, at least for me, it's a lot about results. I do believe that recognition is built on demonstrated results. That's how I made my way. And the third thing I think which is also important, that's at least what I tell to my mentees, is to grab opportunities. I will give you one example about what it means to grab opportunities, or how easy sometimes we can miss them. And that's applying to everyone, I think, not only to women. Myself, I had a daughter. My daughter was a bit more than 1 year old, and I was pregnant. I was 4 or 5 months pregnant. And then I got a call. Would you like to be a candidate for this super exciting position? A very time-intensive job. What was my first reaction? It's too bad. It's such a bad timing. I cannot. And I went home, and the next morning I woke up and I said to myself, it is the opportunity. Say yes. So I called back and I said, see, yeah, I'm a candidate. And then I went through the interviews, and then I was in the final interview with my potential future boss. So we discussed everything. He asked questions. And obviously, it was not very visible that I was pregnant. I noticed maybe he did not notice. So I have to tell him. And then finally, I shared with him this information, which was quite surprising to him. And guess what? I got the job. I'll be honest with you, it was tough. It was a tough time. And the first year was awful with 2 small babies, and wow, it was tough. But would I call it a sacrifice? I don't know. It was my choice. Nobody told me you have to. It was my choice, and I don't regret it. So that's maybe the best advice I can give. Believe in yourself and take the opportunities. And again, that's not only for women. It's for everyone. And you are entrepreneurs. I don't have this experience. I always worked in a big multinational company. You are much more courageous. You are entrepreneurs. So grab your opportunities, ask for help, build your network, and show your results. That would be my advice. I'm very often asked as well if it's difficult to be a woman among men. I have to say, when I started, I was almost the unique woman in many boards or circles or whatever, or meetings. And no, it was not that bad. But it's much better now. I noticed a real evolution. As I said, I started in 92, 30 years ago. It changed a lot. And it's continuously changing. And because the society is changing. And today, I have some men friends who feel sorry because they are not happy about their work-life balance. So this is very much changing, and I see more and more men at school also coming to the meetings, and it's not only a woman party anymore. By the way, I missed the meetings in school for quite some years. So it is changing, and it is our responsibility, all of us, to support this evolution, to push against discrimination, zero tolerance for disrespect, whatever for gender or else, because diversity is not only gender. It could be the culture, the background, the nationality, the age. So that's our responsibility to push for it. And I do strongly believe that it is linked to inclusion. For me, inclusion is a must for diversity. You can do what you want to attract diverse talents. if they don't feel good, if they don't feel included, they will leave again, because they are talents, of course. So inclusion is a prerequisite for diversity. Now there is another question that I am asked very often. It's, what is a typical woman leadership style? Oh, how embarrassing. I don't feel comfortable at all with putting human beings into boxes. It's like when I'm asked about French and German stereotypes. I can tell you I met wonderful people and very ugly people everywhere in every country, and including the same for leaders. So I would not say there is a typical woman style, because for me each human being is a result of many criteria. As I said, a result of background, a result of culture, experiences, personality, and gender. And that's what makes diversity so desirable. Because we all have our own bias, we all have our own backgrounds. And the only solution, in my view, to balance it is diversity, is a mix. Can you imagine if all the people coding now for artificial intelligence, for example, would have the same format? Let's say French or German or Romanian, 50 years old male or whatever. Can you imagine how terrifying that would be for the future? Because they would have their own bias, and that's normal, and there would be no mix to counterbalance it. So for me, diversity, and that's why we strive for diversity. Diversity is the only way towards collective intelligence. And that's why we try to increase diversity, including at Airbus. And I am the member of what we call the Inclusion and Diversity Board, and we set some targets to make it very concrete. Targets about age, targets about gender, about nationalities, about disability, about everything we can measure, because we are convinced that this is a prerequisite for collective intelligence and collective success. And I tell you, it's not always simple. First, because at least in France and Germany, we don't have so many women studying engineering. It's a fact. And if we have 25% women in the universities, how can I reach 50% afterwards? So that's why I believe we need to start very early, explaining to our children, including to the small girls, that everything is possible. I went to school every year. I went to school of my kids when they were kids, because now they don't want to see me anymore. But I went to school and I spoke about helicopters, satellites, and you cannot imagine the eyes of the little girls were as twinkling as the eyes of the boys. They were fascinated. So it's our responsibility, everyone, to start very early, to tell our children everything is possible. Believe in yourself, choose what you want to do, everything is possible. So I would conclude here. I don't know, maybe I'm too long, too short, you will tell me, Grégoire, okay. As a conclusion, these were some of my thoughts and my experience, and I'm looking forward to hearing to all the great guests here and their own experiences. Thank you very much.
Thank you everybody, and welcome to this event. We are preparing it since last year, if I remember correctly. So I'm very, very glad that finally you are here and you are here with us. I would be glad to invite on stage the participants in the first panel. I would like to invite Elisabeta Morar, Lara Tansanzanin, Sergiu Rusu, Alex Baloy și Corina Țiu. So, when we have started to brainstorm about this event dedicated to women with Grégoire and Irina at the beginning, we were thinking how should we position this topic, which can be very passionate and can be very rich in terms of content. And the first decision that we made was that we shouldn't speak about gaps, we shouldn't speak about power, but rather try to bring forward ideas like models, inspiration, and leadership. So tonight we'd like to talk about values, the values that we are trying, each of us, women and men, to embed in the next generation, to grow in the companies that we are working in, and to develop in ourselves, because each of us are in an evolving process. So this is why I'm very, very happy to have tonight in the panel the guests that I have invited on stage. And I will start with a very short presentation of each of them. So Elisabeta is country manager for Google since 2016, with 20 years experience in the business. Prior to Google, she has worked for Microsoft and Xerox. She's very motivated to create positive impact in society, and she is committed to educational programs in schools and universities. Welcome, Elisabeta. Lara has been appointed the head of the European Investment Bank Group representation in Romania in 2018. She oversees the largest office of EIB Group with more than 40 experts providing technical assistance to various Romanian authorities. Prior, she worked in Turkey, in London, and she gained experience in Central European initiatives, supporting candidate countries to access their EU accession. In her spare time, she enjoys traveling, dancing, and psychology. Corina Țiu is Operation Director for TELUS International Romania, and she's in this position for 4 years. Prior, she has an extensive experience in the service sector, and today she loves to help organizations disrupt change as usual. Very nicely put. When not working, Corina can be found in a coffee shop enjoying cappuccinos. Sergiu is the technology leader for Oracle Romania as of 2019. In this role, she is supporting different kinds of projects in Romania for Romanian market, international market, and Romania and abroad. In the past 15 years, Sergiu has developed the deep expertise in the cloud technologies and has been very engaged in elevating the innovation level on the Romanian marketing. He will tell tonight which are his hobbies. And last but not least, Alexandro Baloy, who is a Global Partner Solution Director at Microsoft Romania, also with extensive experience in the technology sector, prior working in Vodafone and Telemobil. Thank you all of you for being on scene tonight. And because time is running fast, I would suggest that we start the questions. And my first question would be to Ella and Corina. You are both leading large organizations, and you have a lot of younger people in your teams. What do you think are their expectations from their leaders? And second, what would be some model examples for yourself? What made you grow in your career?
Bonsoir, premièrement. Madame l'ambassadrice, c'est un honneur. Merci de nous recevoir. We have to go to English, unfortunately. I will start actually with the second question, if you allow me, because I dread models, I hate models, and I recommend everybody not to have models. And actually, the most I've learned ever in my life was from the people I did not like or were very different than I am. So if I encourage anybody to look for something, is no role models. That being said, to go back to your first question, I'm sorry, I'm disappointing you. No names of special women, anything in that respect. It's you. It's literally yourself. So the first question, I believe people expect to be treated as they need in terms of, I want to be seen and I want to be recognized. So it doesn't matter gender or anything else, but give me recognition for my work and give me experience based on my potential.
Bonsoir, je suis très heureuse and I will switch to English. It's better. Thank you for having us. So to start with the first question, I think everyone is expecting nowadays to have a leader that actually leads with authenticity, with purpose, that is able to enhance the careers, that is able to see, because everybody wants to be seen. So I strongly believe that basically being an example, and I know you said no examples, no models, nevertheless, every one of us needs to be seen, and every leader should have those gates of communication opened and make sure that you listen to your teams, you listen to your people, because empathy starts with understanding and recognizing others' realities.
Thank you very much for this introduction. You spoke about authenticity, and I think it's a very important value for each of us. So I would like to address my next question to Sergio and Alexandro. How leaders can stay true to themselves? What is an authentic leader for you? And how you, as leaders, are supporting women in your organization?
Okay. The first thing is that authenticity comes from your inner self. And being genuine can always be supported by being self-sufficient and knowing that you have the qualities to do whatever you are asked to do. So it's critical to create an environment where everybody is appreciated. This is my opinion, it's the most important thing. Saying no to negativity, creating an environment where mistakes are permitted. And by the way, we had several examples where by mistakes we won very nice projects. So in my opinion, this is the fuel to create your inner self. And this is something that is supported by the environment and by the leaders around you. I think that's...
Alex, what about you?
First of all, hello everybody, and thank you very much for the invite. I am very happy to meet Greg. I know Greg since a long period of time, like 1 year and something, and it's the first time when I meet him face to face. So I'm very happy to meet you, Greg. I liked very much the first questions, but I will answer to my question. I believe when you climb in a corporate or in a business environment, with power is coming the need for equilibrium. People tend to lose the humanity. I believe what is the most important thing is to remain normal. but this cannot be done with effort. The more power you have, the more feeling that you are God you have, okay? And this, what I always appreciate and I highly recommend is to do efforts to remain human, with the feet on the ground, and to treat others like in the way in which you would like to be treated by others. I believe this is normality.
Nice. Maybe we will get back to the first question in the second round of
Yes.
discussion. And I would like to address a question for Lara right now. In your position, you advocate every day basically the importance of ESG and governance in general in attracting and securing investment. Okay, so beyond compliance and reporting, what is the true benefit, the true value of ESG for business, for sustainable business?
Thank you very much for the question. Première chose, je voudrais remercier l'ambassadrice, la France et Grégoire de French Tech pour cet événement. I am a real gender passionate, being in Romania since 2018, and I can assure you that it's not easy to have a female dedicated event combined with tech on top of it, and with men on the stage and men in the audience. So big congratulations for this achievement. It's really not easy, and I'm really true to, very close to reality. Going back to your question, I don't know how many of you are familiar with ESG. I was asking before in the audience if people would combine ESG with women, with the women topic. I don't think this is so well known. ESG, everybody I think nowadays speak about ESG, read about ESG, but in fact ESG is environmental, social and governance. And this is something that investors, institutions, banks, public bank like the one I work for, or commercial banks, are more and more selective in deciding where they will put their money. So they will put their money in those companies, those products that are more ESG friendly, ESG compliance. And why this is relevant, not only because for us ESG as investors and those channeling these funds to the market, those are not relevant just because we want more climate-friendly investment, but because really we believe that, and we have evidence on this, that wherever a company in terms of product and processes is pursuing ESG goals, you will have, yes, it's true, better revenues, more stable, more resilience, and the pandemic and the current war in Ukraine show this. All the firms that they were more able to adapt and to align to ESG governance and reporting, as you have said, Adriana, responded better to the challenges foreseen and unforeseen that businesses are facing every day. But you mentioned real benefit, and I was asking myself, but real for whom? And I think this is the basic question, because it's not only a question of real benefits for the economy, as someone would say. It's not only a real benefit for investors, but it's also real benefit for employees and real benefit for customers. We are running annual surveys on firms all over Europe, and for example, we see more and more that customers are exercising pressure on companies. They are choosing those products that are from companies that are more prone to follow ESG guidance, ESG objectives. And this is not only a matter of, so to say, having a more diverse workforce. It's really true that when you have, I think I like the fact that nowadays gender diversity is not so fancy anymore. I think diversity and inclusion is what we should target. And in fact, the more diverse and the more inclusive your decision-making structure is in a firm, the more you will attract the talent, the more you will retain the talent. In Romania, we are, for example, we have evidence that businesses are very constrained by lack of skilled labor force, by lack of labor force. And we have evidence that youngsters, which are the workforce of tomorrow, are not only so much after salary, after all, they're not so much anymore after work-life balance, but they want really to authenticity, indeed, and they want really that the companies and the firms they work for, they walk the talk, also in terms of products. And we believe that pursuing ESG objectives will help acquiring talents, but also retaining them in the long term, which is de facto one of the most challenging constraints that businesses are facing every day, not only in Romania, but in most of the EU countries.
Thank you very much. 30 years ago already, a study conducted by Harvard Business Review concluded that women managers who have broken the glass ceiling in medium-sized, non-traditional organizations have proven that effective leaders don't come from one mold. There is no one way to be a leader. There is no one leadership model. Definitely, command and control style is not the only one leading to success. So, it was proven 30 years ago. What do you think today? Working all of you with a lot, as I said, younger generation in technology, so highly praised business sector. What is the right leadership model, or how are companies? How should companies adapt and adjust their leadership model depending on the phase that they are in? Should they? I don't know, maybe start with Alex, who had more to say about the previous question.
I make efforts to remind myself the first question, not to forget. So this question is also very good. I don't believe there is a universal leadership style generally applicable. It doesn't exist. And companies are in different stages. There are companies that they want to grow, they want to innovate more, they want to become more efficient. So it's important to choose a leadership style that will fit the current stage and the future of the organization, the way in which it's expected from the shareholders, from the owners, from the board, and so on. So there is no universal leadership style.
There is no one mold. Ella?
Yes. So while you were saying that 30 years ago, I remember that I read once that in 2015, in top 100 most important companies in UK, the most used name, more as percentage than women, was John. So there were more John than women. And then 4 years later, diversity kicked in and there were more David. So putting the feet on the ground with Romania now, luckily, I see that every year there are more percentages of female students in polytechnics. So that's great. The problem is that majority of them will leave Romania. So connecting it to your question about leadership, I will talk about my style of leadership, which is quite audacious and outspoken, as you can see. And that's why we have a lot of initiatives. I drive a lot of initiatives, and I get involved in a lot of initiatives where we talk to pupils. And yes, we show them that it's possible, and we also show them authenticity. And everybody, especially women, are authentic until they are perfect. And we are all perfect. And I have to tell you, it's impossible. And unless you show vulnerability and how difficult it is to balance things and how difficult it is not to have everything all the time in the same time, and not to have regrets that you're here and not with the kids, or that you're not doing whatever you would have wanted as a hobby or anything else, because you always have this workload, which is 10x more than other situations. All this sums up to your life. One of the projects that I would like to talk about, because I think it's important, maybe it can be scaled by others, and it doesn't have to write Google there, it's about each and every one of us. It's a project which we call Mind the Gap. It started with girls in tech until we realized it's not just girls, it's everybody, all the kids that are just afraid to fail. Yeah? So I've been mentoring in the last few years boys and girls in high school years, where studies show that they decide more or less what happens in their life as a grown-up. And it's their parents that are their role models. And mind you, we are in Romania, so their parents are predominantly in rural areas, barely making it from one wage to another, and not thinking that much about learning programming to become the next NASA astronaut. Luckily, we do see that since last year, the searches in Romania for learning programming have more than doubled. So there has to be something there that happens that is of good fortune.
Excellent. Please, Sergio,
very
share.
short intervention. In my opinion, it's very easy to measure the quality of a manager, and it's the sum of the people within his team. Because in our days, one team. Okay, one team. I understood. It's a subtle change, yes, that's true. That makes the difference. Because the right manager will manage to keep the right people around, will create, in my opinion, the diversity is the key word. And if one manages to cover as many as possible of the facets of diversity, and I'm talking about age, gender, whatever, I think the magic will start to happen. This is my experience. The diversity of ideas and the way the things will evolve from that moment are great. So this is my experience in this area.
Excellent. Corina, would you share an experience about leadership?
I think I would challenge a bit the question because I don't know why exactly did you invite me, Anela, but we'll figure it out by the end. So I would challenge in the way like it's important and it's crucial, I would say, to pair the company strategy with the right momentum. Is it a startup? Is it a more mature company? So the right timing with the right leadership. While I believe there are no right leadership models, but I do believe every team needs to be led in a different way. And just to give you a small example, you will never be able to lead an HR team the same way you will lead an engineering team. Doesn't make sense, at least not in my head. It's not going to work. But why I was saying at the beginning that I would like to challenge is because I would challenge the organization to think a bit beyond those stereotypes of leadership models. What if we invest in our people, in our leaders? Why don't we stop just throwing development programs based on one size fits all? Because guess what? Most of them, they don't. But why don't we think outside of the box and say, okay, how do we go to that systemic leadership, if you want to call it like that, which means creating the environment for our leaders for exposure, for that environment where they can actually grow and learn. Who stops you to learn something new as a leader in your 30s or in your 50s? Nobody. But I think the organization, instead of looking outside for a fluke, like I'm going to hire someone who is smart and he or she will lead the team and will make the change, what if we grow the organization, having a strong pipeline, creating that pipeline, creating that environment where leaders can learn, where we can tell them that failure is brilliant, and maybe even pat them on the back, telling them that failure is not the end of the road, but failure actually is what brought us here, probably, because we are learning. That's like a free training, at least for me. So, in a nutshell, yes, it's important to match the strategy of the organization at a very specific moment with the leadership style or models. Nevertheless, I think it's more important to create the environment where everyone can grow and be so flexible that they can learn new things in the 5 years and even longer.
Excellent. Lara, what do you think about the leader? Charisma or development, personal development?
I would say both. I mean, I think that when we look at diversity in a very genuine and authentic way, we cannot stick to models. and to pre-cook solution. I think that we really have to be authentic to ourselves and be aware, though, that we are a role model. Because I have been organizing some events, I wouldn't say similar to this because I could not reach this level, but where I brought successful female businesswomen that led their business, and they were early entrepreneurs. And I was very surprised to the fact that when on stage, it was not easy for them to be inspiring and inspirational and to be aware of the journey. Like Ella, I was very aware and very, very owning. So it is very important that the true leaders are true to themselves, authentic, no model. At the same time, be aware that they are an example for their staff, for their customers, for the investors too, I would say. And because seeing is believing. If you see it, you can believe it. And it's not only Greg's daughter, right? But it's not only the fact that we are, of course, a model for our children, a model for our, I would say, for our friends, for our teams. But it's really the fact that it is important to tell that, yes, I was an engineer myself, so very male-dominated in finance, extremely male-dominated. So yes, it is true that my difference was at some point a plus, but it is true that there were many moments where it was a minus. And I have to be open to say this, because this is the example that in our role modeling will have the major impact, because there are no moments. And the important thing is to see that you kept going, you kept remaining attached to your principle. You didn't adapt to the situation because there were other models that were prevailing in the corporates. And slowly you find your way. And that I think that this is the combination of being authentic, so having your own model, but also being aware of it and being conscious that it's very important that you transfer your experience, both negative and positive, because life is made of this, to your teams, to your employees, and I would say even beyond that, to your customers.
I liked very much Elisabeta's point, and then I didn't like my answer at all because it was very general. So I want to expose myself a little bit, okay? I can describe my leadership journey very easy. I'm a Romanian and born in Romania, raised at the countryside. I've made the Romanian school in which ranking is very important. If you are not in top, your parents will beat you to be in top, okay? So very high competition. Then I played boxing, very collaborative. I'm a professional boxer, and then I started the career in sales, okay? And with this equipment, I started my leadership journey. I was very good as a sales guy because I felt that very independent, okay? Everything relied on my hands. And I was fighting with everybody, and for me, it was very important to be better than all my colleagues. Then I became an entrepreneur, like Greg, and I had my first employees. My first employee was a woman in Slobozia, a very small country city near Bucharest. And then I had 10, I have 20, I had 40, and then I realized that nothing that I've learned can be applied in order to have success. And my success, I learned it in the hard way. By the way, also entrepreneurship, I learned it in the hard way. I didn't have business school. I'm an engineer. And I've done all the stupid mistakes that an entrepreneur can do, including with the cash, okay? I felt very rich when I had a lot of cash, and then it was very difficult for me to put the cash back. That was not mine. Long story short, I learned that leadership is about empowering others, okay, to help others to perform, to help others feel safe. I invested time to listen to everybody, okay? My employee from Slobozia that had an issue with his boy, okay? And I've heard why in a period of time she couldn't perform. Călăraș, I discovered, by the way, in sales, all the women employees were much better sales persons than men, okay? But maybe the industry was like this. It was telco. Then I started to work in big corporations. And then I went to business schools at IMD. By the way, my best friend is a person that is having a handicap. He's having un defect, cum se zice. He's having a disability, face disability, and he was marginalized all his childhood. And by the way, he's a brilliant guy working in IT. His brain, it's amazing, okay? After 6 months of work, of learning every day in Polytechnica, he knew by heart, without reading again, all the classes. In the exam time, when I was reading the first class, it was like I read it for the first time in my life. And then this guy was my best friend, and I've learned from everybody. I had a huge opportunity regarding exposure and why these type of events are very helpful. I was exposed when I started to work in a big company at IMD, and I had the opportunity to be in a program to learn how, to teach us how to be better as leaders. And we met CEOs from Tetra Pak, Ryanair, and these guys were normal people. For me, it was a big surprise to see these guys that are 100% normal. And we have discussed with them, we had coffee with them, we had lunch, dinner with them. And for me, it left a big mark, okay? And then I've tried to replicate everything that I've learned. So in the journey of becoming a leader, there are a lot of, and by the way, in my childhood, both parents are working in army, okay? So that's why I'm saying I'm a very packed leader for success. So I had to learn a lot, okay, and to recover a lot. I also don't pick examples, but there are people that I like, and maybe from something that they do or they say, they inspire me. And you are right, you were right. Whenever you ask for help, many people that are in big positions are investing time to help you. And this help, it's something that is coming from your heart, and this is leadership, okay? When somebody is asking help, you have enough, I don't know, you have the guts and the courage to invest time and the availability to invest time, yeah.
It's extraordinary to have you on stage, and I think we could talk for hours. But we have some other guests tonight. So what I would like to conclude from this conversation is that leadership is a journey. I really liked this. Leadership is a journey. Leadership is making space for the others. It's being true to yourself. And with these wise words from the panelists, I would suggest that we leave the floor for the second panel now. Thank you very much.
One year ago, we had the second edition of French Tech Romanian Touch, which is our flagship event at the French Embassy. And we like to give awards to these kind of events. And the person who won last year the award for Best Female Entrepreneur is going to be the moderator for our next panel. She also happened to be the CEO and founder of The Recursive. Irina, the mic is yours.
Thank you, Greg. That was a really nice introduction, and I couldn't have a better opening than the first discussion, which was about leadership. In the second one, we will explore the topic of entrepreneurship, which is, in a way, related, again, to leadership, and I think it's still related to role models. I truly believe that we need positive role models, and I think that especially young ladies need to believe that if this lady made it, then I can do it too. In 2020, women-founded startups raised just 1% of the investment in Central and Eastern Europe. The percentage is pretty similar all over Europe. 5% went to mixed gender founding teams, while all men raised 94% of the investments of the venture capital. At the same time, research shows that gender equality has strong link to companies' financial performance. In fact, women-founded startups generate more revenue per euro invested. Further, women-led businesses outperform in capital productivity by 96%. Next to the funding gap, women founders have to face various challenges on a daily basis. Which are these? How we can empower more women in entrepreneurship, and how could we close this funding gap are the topics of today's discussion. I would like to welcome our panelists now to the stage. Me as an entrepreneur myself, I really have the pleasure to sit next to these amazing ladies. Simona, come. Big applause. You know that coming on stage is makes some people nervous, so I'm going to make a deal today with you. Whenever someone comes on the stage, you're going to give them a big applause just to pressure down. I'm going to introduce them to you very shortly, although I'm sure that you probably know most of them. Monica Cadogan is the founder and CEO of VIGROUX. She began her entrepreneurial path in consulting already at the age of 23. She tried different types of businesses, from selling ice cream over organizing professional training to real estate and even construction. She started the first online store of home and decoration in Romania in 2012?
1,000 years ago.
Definitely long ago. And it was, I think, the first, or no, whatever. Expanded later on to the whole Central and Eastern European region. In 2021, Monica stepped down as a CEO to launch new entrepreneurial projects. Big applause for Monica. Andrea Ivan, Chief Marketing Officer, Central Eastern Europe at Yves Rocher. Andrea is the first thing that people actually notice about her are her natural passion to grow and her search for bigger and better accomplishments. Her most valuable contribution as a leader is her ability to drive group towards results, share her passion, energy, and entrepreneurial spirit in her team, initiate innovative change, and keep things moving at a rapid pace. Simona Gimenanu, co-founder of Morphosis Capital. Simona, which is a private equity fund that aims to transform Romanian small and medium-sized businesses into national and regional champions. She has over 15 years of experience in finance, strategy, M&A roles in Bucharest, in Paris, in London. She has worked for PwC, for Thomson Reuters. She holds a bachelor degree in international affairs from Cuza University and an MBA degree from London Business School. Big applause for Simona as well. And I'm very pleased also to welcome Ioana Anuțuiu. I'm sorry, I still struggle a bit with the Romanian names. She's the co-founder and the CEO of Cruise, a carpooling app for enterprises that aims to improve the way people commute to work, reduce traffic pollution. She is also a product manager of Mobiverso that turns ideas into successful mobile-first products. Last but not least, Adina Huma, the co-founder of ArtCreate, is also with us. This is a Bucharest-based platform that offers sustainable packaging solutions for e-commerce players called ArtCreate. Adina is a female entrepreneur who is passionate about business change, automation, and the circular economy. She's and her co-founder aim to help online retailers reduce waste, lower cost, and attract customers with green policy. I'm going to start with the first question that goes to Andrea and Monica. Venturing out as an entrepreneur is a challenging and risky endeavor that requires the proper mindset and some serious leadership skills that we explored in the last panel, Now, our models for leadership are, in my opinion, very much dominated by masculinity. Is there something like authentic women leadership, which is not copycatting or copying the masculine ones, and that we can establish now as female leaders? Who would like to start? Maybe with Andrea, because she's smiling at me.
Oh, I'm smiling all the time, so you wouldn't ask me to answer to all questions. I think I'm quite aligned with everything that my fellows just said before. I truly believe that leadership is specific to each individual, regardless if it is a woman, a man, a transgender, or whatever. And I believe that authentic leadership is the one who serves a purpose, who serves a team. And I think that more this purpose is in line with our personal value, with our personality, more the leadership is going to be authentic. Now, of course, I am inspired by women leaders, and I can give you some examples. For example, Michelle Obama. I feel like she's a strong leader, and everything she's doing with kindness. I really like Sana Marin, and nowadays we speak a lot about her, and we can really observe how she's really clear thinking and clear-minded, facing crises. Now, are these characteristics typical to women leadership? I don't know. But on the other side, I can think to very strong leaders like Hillary Clinton, for example. And in my personal observation, I feel like sometimes she's like overdoing a bit because you cannot see any vulnerability, any emotions. She's really tough. She's really dominant and so on. And these are, we could say that might be some kind of man characteristics. But we cannot judge her because maybe she needed to be like this in order to go up and to be accepted by the system. So anyhow, I believe that if we want diversity, and we spoke with Mathilde just before, diversity is not only between genders, but it is between nationalities, inclusivity and so on. It should definitely start with education. Within families and education within schools. I think as long as we give mostly men examples of politicians, history, famous personalities, or scientists. In school, there are a lot of examples of men. Things cannot really change, and I think we are 50-50 on the planet, so there is no reason we are not 50-50 in our organization and companies. So, yeah.
Thank you. Monica, growing a company from scratch, I guess you explored very different stages, and you explored also different types of leadership. At which stage did you feel like, okay, this is my authentic me, I don't need to copy the, I would say, rather established masculine models?
Sorry, yeah. Hi, thank you for the invitation, Grégoire. I don't see him, and nice to see familiar faces. Thinking about the female and masculine leadership, I can say that I only know my way, yeah? So I wouldn't know if masculine or feminine are better or worse. I wouldn't know if my leadership is coming or inspired from my very strong personality mentors, mainly men, or my amazing peer female, like in business. But I surely know that you know it when you see it. So it happened to me many times that I see organizations, I see cultures, the way people talk and the way people interact, and they have some values that you recognize, some words that are repeated. I heard earlier respect, inclusive, trust, sharing, the power. I think those are I don't know if female values, but you would find a lot of female leaders using these words. This is what I noticed. So I believe that because I'm a female, my leadership is it's a female leadership. But I wouldn't know if it was a choice or it just happened.
Let's try this. This works for me.
It works now. Then we'll share it.
I think I'm more tech. Can you hear me well? Yeah. Yes, very good.
Thank you.
I totally agree with you. Sometimes I feel like maybe we're a bit afraid to show vulnerability, but we will come back to this question maybe at a later stage of the discussion. My next question would be to Adina and Ioana. Women usually are perceived as risk averse. And I'm curious for you, you know, doing business, especially in the tech sphere, would you say that this is true? And would you say that this makes us somehow less fit as entrepreneurs?
Hello, good evening. First of all, thank you for inviting me. I'm honored to be here. Well, regarding to these questions, first of all, there are some studies saying that women are less they're more risk adverse. But frankly speaking, I believe there are somehow less loose takers or loose. They don't really like to bet so much in order to fail. So somehow, maybe from the position that the nature gave us of being some kind of caretaker and so on, maybe this is seen in the way we are positioning ourselves towards betting on something which has less risks to fail by all means. But however, I wouldn't put it in a negative way. Maybe it's more conscious. Maybe it's more protective, or maybe it's more sustainable in the way we are building things, without betting everything on something which has no fundamentals. So I would put it in a very positive way. That this tendency may be, which is again a part of the studies, it is a way to build businesses which are more sustainable on long shot, and not win everything in the first round.
Sustainable in the sense of profitable, rentable, okay.
Slow but steady growth.
Ioana, what is your experience? Actually, it comes to me because, carpooling app is difficult in times of pandemics. I guess you chose the risk. Would you agree that women are less risk averse and maybe less fit as entrepreneurs?
Well, first of all, I would like to talk about the importance of risk in business. Indeed, everyone who chooses to start a business needs at some point to take risks, but it's not as important as we all like to think. It's about a lot of hard work. It's about doing 30 versions of the same presentation. It's about spending a lot of time. Taking the risk that will take you to the top of the chain, it's just 1% of the work that an entrepreneur has to do. So leaving that apart, I think both men and women have the same appetite for risk, but indeed we take it differently. Because men are thought to dive headfirst into risk, whereas women are mostly thought to analyze everything, be really sure of their decisions, be the most prepared for everything they do. So maybe women will take less risks, but when they do take risks, they are better prepared, and I think that's a good thing. So to wrap it up, I think we don't overpromise and under-deliver. We do the exact opposite. Maybe we don't always take the chance, but when we do, we are more prone to success.
I can agree here, and I actually know the pressure of promising something to someone and then I can't sleep because maybe I didn't manage to deliver it on time. This is the most horrible situation. In any case, Simona, this risk aversion, is that the reason for the funding gap that I quoted before that? Do you think that because women are less ready to take the risk, people perceive them as not as good entrepreneurs as men?
With the risk of being controversial,
I think it's also a matter of conversion rate. What I mean by that, 1 in 5 startups are set up by at least one female founder. So speaking of risk aversity, I think some of the women and most of the women don't want to give up a job and start up their own business because of family constraints or lack of courage, maybe. I wouldn't say so. I don't like labeling. So I think the fact that there is only 20% of the startups have at least a female founder is part of the problem. We need to work on education and on financial skills. I was also surprised, and Romania is an outlier here. I was very surprised to discover myself. Only 18% of the women, of the CFA holders are women worldwide. In Romania, they are 39%. So CFA, for who doesn't know, it's a certificate in financial analyst for investment people. And Romania is the second one after Vietnam. So Romanian women take the courage to go to core skills like technology or engineering or finance, but they don't go into, worldwide it's still a large gap in financial skills for women because they don't take advanced studies in finance. And I think this part of then it's apart from the conversion rate, it's indeed the stereotypes that are happening in this world, where when you see a woman presenting the startup, and you are used to the male kind of presentation and the male kind of knowing the numbers top of their head and so on. And the woman might be more in market, more inclusive, more looking through different lenses. There might be difficult, especially in the investment world. Most of the judges are men, so this could be the difference as well. I, for one, think we are the only, as far as I know, in the region, 50-50 fund, both at the partner level and investment team. But unfortunately, I very often find myself alone, only a woman in a room full of men. So that's in a nutshell what I can say about the funding gap and the reasons behind that.
Although we have 20% of companies being founded by women, and the venture capital investment is in 1% of them. It's only in the very, very best, or maybe the male dominant. This is why I believe that breaking down the barriers for women in leadership position, in entrepreneurship, urges both women and men to look beyond certain stereotypes, established not just at the workplace, but in general in our society, in our education, as you also mentioned. I'm sure that along the way you have met such men. I would like now to maybe praise a bit the men who are aware of that. How did men support you on the way to your success at this point? Yes, Monica.
I will jump on it, because I'm surely... I want to comment on the thing before, because okay. I have an issue the other way around. I am too courageous, and everybody kind of... most of the women that I know are extremely courageous, so I would like to be at least the one at this panel that has an issue on the other side, to be too courageous as a mother of 4 kids and 3 daughters, and in many other aspects that I do every day. I feel that I'm a bit too daring, and that the women that I meet, they kind of say, we run, this is the problem. The people cannot catch up, life cannot catch up with us. Anyway, so to go back to your question, of course, I am one of the lucky ones that was told since ever that I am at least as good as my brother. I have a brother 11 months old, and I think this was also very good. And since then, and that I can do everything that I want, or I should try to do everything that I want, that gender is not important. But I think this conversation, only male and female, can easily become flawed Yeah, I think there are amazing fathers that support daughters, but sometimes it's more important to have a mentor or a boss that is supporting. So somehow I would like to thank the men that have been there, but I do not think it's the only reason that I got, let's say, where I am. Thank you.
Who would like to mention a man who supported them on the way?
And my husband, sorry, he's very important. He's home with the 4 kids. Very, very important. Most important these days, actually, and my mentor. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Happens to me also all the time. So let's establish the role models for men who support diversity and women.
I can continue. Yeah, I feel that maybe because I'm fairly young and things have changed in the past few years, I haven't really felt discrimination towards women. And really a lot of men around me have supported me into my journey and have encouraged me to not be different as a woman, but do anything that I want to do. But by far the most supporting man in my journey was my partner and co-founder Luca, and that's only because he has always encouraged me to do things my way, even if we had different opinions. He never put his above mine, and for the things that we have agreed on that I would lead, he always let me do things my way. And the most important thing is that even when I failed, and it happened a lot of times, he was there to support me and help me figure things out and put things back on track. Yeah, and I hope every woman that starts a journey in business has a business partner such as Luca and has this much support towards the way they want to lead. And one other thing that I would like to add that really important, not just for women but also for men, is to feel that even if they fail, and that may happen, they are accepted and they will be helped to figure things out. So we not really fear risk, but the consequences and knowing you have to support when you fail is actually what makes you go forward and try again and risk again.
You're opening a very big topic, but we will continue that in the networking session. Still, very shortly, let's praise the man who supported you on the way.
Okay, so because I have the microphone, I will speak about my partner in life and in business as well, that always taught me that nothing is impossible and a kick in the ass is actually a step forward. Excuse my language. And I had the opportunity to work with him very late in my career, and I see the evolution of business environment, because I don't share the same generation like her. I started in '99. And I think there's lots of progress in all businesses towards inclusion and diversity. And I think the first boss that I had gave me the confidence that I can do lots of things and empowered me to do more. And then my husband, who taught me that sky is the limit. Thank you so much.
The sky is the limit.
Okay, I will be maybe short because we don't have too much time. But for me, I would say that I can give two perspectives. First of one, within the family, like personal experience is really the not to do, I would say. I had this education, very basic one, when the father is the cap of the family. The father is the one who supports financially the family. And this is how it is, actually. And I'm coming from a family with 3 sisters and a mom, and my father used to be a priest. And my trajectory was quite well defined by my father, like you need to be a teacher, to teach eventually religion, Orthodox religion, because this is like an easy job for a girl. So it was really opposite. But okay, today I'm completely different. I have a completely different position, and I was lucky enough throughout my career within Group Rocher, because this is mainly where I did my career, to be really supported by men and women at the same time, really great leaders who supported me with visibility. And the most important, they trust me when I didn't. And this was super important.
I will just close this conversation saying that I think it's very important for both partners to be sustained by the other. It's more obvious in the woman's position because from history she has more, has this caregiver role which is given by the nature. So it's very important that the other partner actually supports and balance these things out. But I am also from a more younger generation where we don't really. I mean, I did sense a bit of let's say differences in how the things were positioning during let's say investing rounds and so on, but we both as a woman founder received a lot of trust from mainly from male from investors, and I think this gap is closing, and we are all working towards more balanced life. And I also received a lot of support from my personal partner.
Thank you. There were also other topics that I wanted to tap in, but we don't really have much time. So I'm going to finish with a quote, because I see that there are many ladies in the audience, and also for the ladies here on the stage. Madeleine Albright said that there is a special place in hell for women who don't support each other. So I think let's remind ourselves of the times when we're weak. Let's remind ourselves of the times when we are vulnerable. Be honest first towards ourselves about them. And remember that every one of us has such moments, and reach out to them when they need that. That will be all from my side. Support each other, women on the way. This is what we need. Greg, I'm going to give you the mic and the whole stage. Thank you so much.
Our third and last panel is going to be moderated by a close friend of mine. He happens to be German. He happens to be also my business partner in the Romania Insider. And with the panel, they are going to talk about women and workplaces. My friend, the floor is yours.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Volker. Thank you very much, Grégoire, for this introduction. I'm honored, and I must say I was a bit nervous when I saw I'm the only male moderating this, because it is but I'm also I'm humbled to do it, because there were talks now in the leadership panel and in the entrepreneurship panel about trust and respect. Mathilde mentioned this, and there were also now in the last panel we talked a lot about support. And I think now this panel's job is to wrap this up, how organizations can actually implement this support. And this is why I'm very happy to have amazing panelists for this last panel of tonight. And I would like to invite on stage Marion, Thierry, Aline, and Raluca. And once you're on stage, I would like to introduce you personally. So I think we should stick with the energy that Irina established here, and applause to each of these amazing panelists that I'm going to introduce now. Marion Hegarty is married and mother of 2 teenagers. After starting her career as a communication and partnership manager in Paris, she then moved to Dubai for 5 years, where she worked in business development in the Gulf region. After moving to Bucharest, she passed certification in agile methods in order to be able to integrate the IT sector. She joined her company 5 years ago as a project manager, Société Générale, and is now an IT tribe manager, more specifically specialized in the transition management and nearshoring of IT teams serving Société Générale's investment banking activities. Welcome, Marion.
Thank you. Bonsoir.
Thierry Olivero is married and a father of a French-Romanian little boy. He spent his first 10 years at Air Liquide in France, Germany, and Austria in roles linked to strategy, business development, marketing, and human resources. In this last role, he was setting and implementing the gender diversity strategy of Air Liquide in Central Europe. He became the managing director of Air Liquide Romania in October 2021. Welcome, Thierry. Aline Simon. Aline has progressively grown within the aeronautical industry in a technical environment, mainly masculine, while ensuring a work-life balance essential to her. Being in a leader position at Airbus Helicopters, she's willing to share her experience to contribute to promote and encourage diversity as an essential success factor for both business and personal development. Welcome, Aline. Last but not least, Raluca Vigrascu. Raluca is part of the Orange Romania marketing team in charge with digital marketing strategy. Her experience of over 15 years in product marketing and corporate communication helped her to better understand customers' expectations and needs and build the overall strategy for both paid and unpaid marketing platforms in accordance with the business goal of the organization. She's passionate about teaching corporate communication as an associate professor at Faculty of Letters in University of Bucharest. Welcome, Raluca. A McKinsey study conducted in Germany in 2020 about diversity in organizations shows that companies are 25% more likely to be more successful than average companies if they have women in top management positions. Those are the facts of this study. Aline and Raluca, do you see a direct correlation between business performance and gender balance within your teams? That would be very interesting to see this if this study can be confirmed. Who wants to start? Aline, you want to start?
So I will start. First of all, big thanks for being there. I'm very happy. It's my first time in Romania and delighted to be there with you tonight. So, direct correlation between performances and gender balance. I would not say that. I'm belonging, I would say, to a big company. We are very keen of KPIs, but I've not, it's difficult to make a direct link. What I can share by experience, I have spent more than 18 years in design office. I've also done program and now I'm in support and service side. It's all a matter of teamwork. And therefore, I'm absolutely convinced that diversity and gender diversity is a key asset in teamwork. I have concrete example because we usually face technical issues, difficult, and very keen of squad, task force, and so on. And an advice and what I've applied is really to take care of having, I would say, a diverse team. You have different view, different approach, and it's key to find a solution and to succeed. So.
Okay, thank you very much. Raluca, what about you?
I think that it's important to have a gender balance in your teams and in your board team members. In Orange, from where I come, Orange, Romania, we have a mix of gender, very good mix of gender. So in employee, at the level of employees, we have 50% women. So 1 out of 2 employees is a woman. We have a CEO that is a woman. We have at the group level a CEO that is a woman. So I think that bringing this perspective into business can only help.
Okay, thank you. So also you say, yes, it can help, but it really depends, and you cannot confirm, let's say, very concretely about this study in your personal experience, because it really depends on more factors. If it
yes, I can complete this answer by saying that at the Orange Group level, we have a policy that we initiated, and we targeted to have a very good gender balance. It started in 2011. Last year, we were the 23rd out of 4,000 companies at the global level being evaluated about this gender balance. So it's important, and we are the second in our sector. Okay. So it's important, and if you have a plan for it, you can track the effects.
Okay, thank you. Let's move maybe a little bit more to IT. Marion, when we did the prep call for this, I was first of all excited to find out that you are an IT tribe manager, and you explained this to me. And you also talked very enthusiastically about the age of automation, that somehow can be really, that there are risks, but there are also real good chances for specifically female leaders and women in organizations. Could you elaborate this also to the audience?
Is it working? Yes, it's working now. Yes, automation can still be a little bit scary, perceived as scary for some employees and managers, but actually, automation is here. We all know that. It has been here for a while. It's booming right now, and it will continue, and it will remain for a while, definitely. Yes, it's true that it replaces some human tasks, of course, but these tasks are low-value tasks. And we talk about repetitive tasks, boring processes, time-consuming flows, and so on. So basically, it offers a lot of opportunities for other roles, other jobs, other positions in the company. And it has arisen a lot. We all know that also, especially in Bucharest in the IT community, of course. So the question is more today: how do we make sure that we keep women in the sector, and they are not left aside? So I think on this part, we can focus on education. We talked about it. I mean, it has been mentioned already during the different interventions, but education, awareness, inspiration, and training. Training is the key word today. So education it starts at home, actually. I have 2 teenagers also, so I know what it is. So it starts at home with our children, with our daughters mainly, but also with our boys, I have to say. And then it continues in high school when we have to promote STEM studies. Then it continues at universities when we have to promote tech. So when women in tech can really promote their jobs, their careers, and so on, to ensure, to inspire, when I was talking about inspiration. And then in the workplace, it's very important to support women. So support women careers, support them in their career path, and also offers the possibility of mobility. Today, we can really, as manager, as women, show the way, propose mobilities, and ensure that the women are trained to change the sector or to change their activity. We have more and more examples in our departments, and I'm very proud of it. because we offer this opportunity to train people and to train women so that they can embrace a tech career.
So to change completely what they have been doing in the organization so far, train them, support them in taking a new business role.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. That's really interesting. Thierry, as I just told you, I was excited to also see that you handle diversity and inclusion in your last job and now have this job. First of all, do you track gender balance on company level in general?
Well, we do track them at all levels of the company. Might it be the hierarchical level or the country level or the group level. And it's very important for several reasons. The first one, it's that you can only improve what you measure, right? So you need to know where you start, and then you need to have an action plan. And as I very often tell my teams, there are two words in action plan, and the important one is action. It's not plan. And you just said all the actions, and there are many others, and I will not repeat them, but that's very important. And, the second aspect of tracking, it was said by Lara earlier, it's about ESGs, and it's about what financial markets expect from us. Air Liquide is a big worldwide group, and we have a commitment to financial markets. And it's not because we like to follow KPI and because it's fun to know how many women you have, but it's because it has an impact on performance. I will get maybe the example of Air Liquide Romania. We are an engineering and technology company, right, at the beginning. We have in Romania 33% of women. When you look at management level, it's management and professional, it's 40% of women. And in the management team, out of 7%, including me, we have 4 women, so we have more than 50%. In parallel, we are the fastest growing subsidiary of Air Liquide in Europe, and we have the highest percentage of women. Correlation is not causation, but I think it answers also your first question.
Yes, exactly. I was about to say this. So it actually confirms also some statistics that Luca said, even though, yeah, you could argue about the causality itself, but it's a strong correlation, definitely. And Aline, when we talked before that panel too, you brought something up that made me think, because what happened now tonight in the first 2 panels, we saw amazing women that were very inspiring and that were inspired. And you said, listen, me as a leader, I want to empower women, but I actually also want to see what women want. So it's not only about women pushing on the career level, but actually making sure they have some sort of a work-life balance, which seems to be also a topic that is important to you. What kind of hints would you have for us from an organizational level, but also from a personal level? How could an organization actually embed this into management practice to actually individually try to foster women depending on their aspirations?
Good question. I will use my personal experience. I've started to work 30 years ago in, I would say, in an environment, so 10 years in the Ministry of Defense for France, in a military environment, so quite masculine. And then I joined Eurocopter, so Airbus helicopter at that time, in engineering, so rather masculine also. Nevertheless, I would say joining Eurocopter, like Mathilde, during my hiring interview, I had at that time 1 boy of 2 years old, and it was clear for me that I will have another child, and rather quickly. And so being very attached to my value, meaning respect, transparency, I told during the interview that this was my intention, to have a second baby rather quickly. And if there was an issue with that, please don't hire me. I've got the job, like Mathilde. So I think some values are important to share. Along my career, you say in the introduction, I grow progressively, because this is really the way I've done it. Trying really to balance the work and my family life. So and I had the chance to belong to a company that is offering this opportunity. So I would say you invest in women, but you need to take into account, even if now the balance between mother and father is a bit evolving, but you need to take into account that during the life there is needs that are different. So at a point of time, I've stopped during 3 months for a parental leave. At a point of time, I went to partial time, 90%. It's not big, but I did it. I've never been slowed down in my career development. So it's a matter of, I would say, openness, on trust also. And what I want to pass as a message to my managers, because I have managers, to say, yes, take it into account. Because it's a win-win situation. You invest in women, you trust them, and you get in return engagement and so on. So company, it's a matter of mindset that we can transmit and convey.
It's amazing that it's a very similar example to Mathilde. And my question would here then be, is it more a personal kind of thing and the attitude towards yourself, life expectations and the leader, or can it also be implemented with HR policies of making this officially really happen? What do you think? I think because that is very often, that's what I hear, or when I discuss this in coachings, this is always this kind of, okay, it's an individual thing, but can corporations or organizations actually try to implement this more on a formal level, so any woman has the chance to stand up in case she wants a different kind of work-life setup?
I think it's driven, at least in our company, by the ambition set.
Yes, okay.
There is a clear ambition for gender diversity, and therefore, I would say, there is concrete action.
Okay, okay. The next question would be to Raluca and Marion, and actually maybe it's this kind of German thing, but I read in preparation to this panel, I actually read about remote work that Germans call home office, and that there was a new gender equality report in Germany, and it actually was found that the home office, meaning being able to work remotely from home, partially meant an obstacle for working women in business. And the reason behind it was that culturally in Germany, it seems it was expected from women to do most of the housework when at home, despite having a job. Could you confirm this for Romania, or in your personal experiences, that this is something also culturally happening here or elsewhere? Or is this maybe my German kind of finding out things?
According to my experience, so with the people I work with, I see a lot of modern dads. I mean, they are sharing a lot of the activities at home, a lot of duties and so on. So for me, what is important to point out, maybe more regarding what we can do in the workplace, and especially for the feminine condition, is the return after maternity leave, as we were talking before. Because as we all know, it's a 2 years duration here in Romania, and so it's a long time. So women can be away from the projects for a while. And for me, it's very important to make sure that when they come back, they will be heard. We will have a discussion. We will have a plan about what they want to do. If they are more ambitious or a little bit less ambitious, and it's okay. Both cases are okay, because when we come back from a maternity leave, we can be full of energy, like we want to climb the Everest, or we can be also like, okay, no, I prefer to stay in my comfort zone for some time, because I've been through a big experience. I mean, one of the most overwhelming experience in my life, and I just want to take it easy. And both are okay, but it's just something that we need to discuss and prepare and plan for the days, months to come.
Okay, thank you. What about you, Raluca?
On my side, I have 2 kids at home, so I experienced the maternity leave for 1 year and 2 years. When I wanted to switch from the corporate communication to marketing, I announced that I am interested to switch after I come back, and we talked earlier about the men in our lives that inspired and motivated us. And one director that I was telling to, and it was my mentor during that time, he announced me, it is a good position there, you should apply. So it is important to stay in touch with people from the office during maternity leave. It's difficult after 2 years because I experienced also this, because it was the pandemic and overall all of this. But I know that even if we try hard, we succeed. And also on the organizational, from the organizational point of view, it's important to prepare for what could be next, because in Orange we had, before pandemic, 5 days for remote work per month. So we've been already experiencing this. We just extended. We took our laptops, our monitors at home, and we continued our work. So it's important also to be open to your employees, to trust them, because you have to trust them. You will go at home with your laptop, and I don't know what you will do there. In fact, we see now that they are more productive at home than are sometimes in the office. But they missed the social part.
Yes, yes. Okay. Now, I would like to finish this panel with a question as we talk about women in organizations, and I think I would love if things are tackled practically and practical hints are given, because of what I see is that all evening somehow it was inspiring, but I also understand from you it's really a lot of individual trust in yourself, speaking out what you want, and then saying it out loudly, and it depends on how you see it, how you communicate this. But still, that's one point. The other point is, what could be HR policies, or what could in general organizations do, be it training, be it policies, be it programs? What could be some best practices according to your experiences, all of you, that's a question to all of you, or focus areas in order to help women succeed depending on their personal goals?
Right, so maybe I will start. There is no magic recipe. If it was, it would already have been used everywhere. I think it's important to set an ambition, and you said it very well, and then you need to do something about it. Because you can have the ambition, if you don't have the actions, it doesn't work. And it means that you need to push. What I experience in HR is that you can have all the objectives that you want. If the hiring manager doesn't want to have a woman, or doesn't want to do the extra effort to find a woman, because as you say, Mathilde, it's not everywhere that you have a scientific, educated woman, but they are somewhere. So you need to fight for it, and you need to go and hunt for it. And it's a really active work. It takes more time maybe to recruit, but if you want to recruit women, you can. And it's the same thing with development. There are sometimes, maternity leave, different wishes, different ambitions. Still, you need to be patient, and you need to work actively in getting to your ambition. It doesn't happen by itself.
Mario, what would you say?
I would add to have a constant conversation with people. I mean, as managers, so this is what we do, to have a constant feedback, discussion about how people are doing, how...
On your own performance and feedback, and also explaining what you actually wish to achieve.
Yes,
right?
exactly, so that we can really follow, we can support, we can offer trainings if we are spotting some areas of improvement, of development. So yes, for me, the contact and the permanent feedback is very important. And training in IT. I mean, this is it evolves very fast, and this is what we need. We all know that we don't have enough people on the market to fill all the positions that are available now. So this is the training is key.
And Raluca, you already mentioned your personal example about being able to work remotely while having kids and then returning either after 1 or 2 years. Is there anything else you would have as a, let's say, a policy that really helped you personally in that, or does anything else come to your mind that we could take as a, let's say, practical idea?
I think that mentorship is very important. I benefited from this, and I try to offer in return during my classes at the university, because this is not my main job, but it's important to bring what matters to those that are young. Mentorship is also part of Orange. We are part of Capital Fee, and part of our colleagues have developed and have been involved in mentorship young people that want to find their career path. Training, yes, training is very important, and you can offer it online now. It just has to be there to be offered. And a plan and a strategy between startups, big companies, and the state, because we cannot change the perspective by our own. We are in a system. We work like a system.
Thank you. Thank you. Aline, you have the closing words about your recommendations.
You were talking about HR policy in big company like Airbus. The first thing is to identify our women talent. So there are some kind of event. Then very important mentoring, coaching, training, development plan. And I would add that somehow, in order to progress and to target leadership position, it's all about you, woman and man. It's you need to know yourself, to know your strengths, to know your values, in order to, I would say, to convey them. And something I have observed, nevertheless, a lot with the woman is self-confidence. There is definitively something there about self-confidence. And so as manager, as coach, as mentor, we are here to support and to tell you, just go, grab the opportunity, as said by Mathilde. Do not be shy. It's possible. So I would say.
Don't be shy. That's a very good closing word. I would like to thank all of you for staying also and listening to this amazing panel. Panel 3 in events is always a little bit tough because some people are tired or hot or whatever, but I think I would also like to thank my panelists for adding this kind of organizational perspectives. It was really amazing, and thank you for also adapting to some other questions. Thank you to everyone, and I would like to tell Grégoire, I think Grégoire now tells us how the evening continues, because now the fun part also is continuing.
So those who come to our events at La French Tech know that we are full of surprises. The big surprise was not the apple, even though you will find, of course, apples there. Let me pick my notes. So, dear all, I have a gift, and in order to give this gift, I'm going to call on stage Irina Raicu. I'm sure some of you know already what it is about, or they have an idea, but Irina is going to say a few words about herself and what's going to come next as a surprise, which actually is a surprise, but it comes as a gift for Georges. Yes, for you, because you didn't hesitate any second when we started discussing about partnering with you, having this event powered by Airbus. It was a no-brainer. You said yes immediately. So before we give you the gift, Irina is going to say a few words. Irina.
Thank you so much, Greg. So I'm creating art with artificial intelligence already since 3 years. And I'm very passionate. I'm working in this field from almost 5 years, working for a big corporation. And tonight I would like to share with you my vision about a futuristic concept that I created, an artwork for Airbus. So Greg, if you can bring on the stage, please. So we hope to fly very soon to the moon with Airbus helicopters.
Made by Irina and artificial intelligence. Say a few words.
Thank you very much. Very quickly, it's a very good translation of, I would say, Airbus values as well. We pioneer the future, as we are used to say, and here we have good ideas. It's also for me an opportunity to warmly thank you. I believe it was an important event, and I believe it's not only an event. I believe it's the start of something. It's important to keep it, and just as was said, just trust on yourself and just do it.
Merci Georges, merci Airbus. We also have a little gift for everyone here. You know it's How to Web this week. How to Web is the biggest tech event in Romania. By the way, many of you made the decision tonight to be here and not to the How to Web events because there are several events in parallel. However, if you would like to have a big discounts on How to Web tickets because they are our friends and because they are our partners, please, you go and talk to Luca or myself, and we will give you all the details that you need to have in order to have discounted prices to attend How to Web this week. Here we go. The event is going to continue in the atrium with, again, some surprises. Something that you already know, we like Les Amis de la Fête for Frenchies. We like One Beer Later for French-Romanian beer made in Buzău, draft beer. We have cocktails. Tonight's the first time with AM Social Space. And we have, for those who were at the embassy with our events with 600 people last week, you remember that the first winner, the one who got on stage the first, what do? It's a company named Bluana. It's a Romanian startup. And they basically make sushi out of 100% vegan product. So this Bluana, they have a booth inside the institute. Try their sashimi, try their sushi. It's 100% vegan, and we hope that you are going to like it. And of course, don't leave this event without an apple. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Cheers. Have a beautiful evening. Cheers.